All right, we're going to start with some sort of a soapbox topic. We're going to build a series around some small topics of soapboxes. So Nina, for this edition of Nina's Soapbox, we get a lot of questions, or we use the phrases champion and power users a lot in our correspondence conversation when we engage organizations, as far as how they're valuable folks to identify relative to 365 and Copilot and topics like that. Can you talk about real quickly the differences between a champion and a power user, but also how they're similar and how they're valuable in an organization?
Yeah, sure. So we talk about this quite a lot because people are always asking as we're trying to identify those champions in an organization, what are those characteristics? What are those personalities? So we always joke, we usually say there's two types of people in an organization.
Yep.
One type of person really enjoys new technology and kind of experimenting with stuff and doing little, their own like little test scenarios and pilots and things like that. And then the second group of people are usually the ones who say, I don't really care about all of that stuff. You just tell me how you want me to do it.
Right.
And, they want you to be a little bit more prescriptive. So that second group is not what we would typically see as kind of that champion in your organization. So,
That you will
uh,
frustrate them. If you try and put them in that seat, they
yes,
will be really frustrated. They'll
yes.
be annoyed. They'll be bothered. They won't like it. So yeah, don't put those people in that seat. So
No.
sorry, go ahead, Nina.
No, so they typically are really curious and they want to try this stuff out. I will say that it doesn't necessarily mean that they're like an IT guru. Like they're not this highly technical administrator personality. They just like the new technology. So I think, to your previous question about what then differentiates between a champion and a power user, I think a power user probably has a little bit more of that technical ability and some sort of additional privileges. Like SharePoint admin is a really good example, or a Teams admin. So maybe they're managing a certain part, or maybe even a global admin. But typically they have a little bit more rights and privileges inside of your 365 tenant. The other thing I would say with champions is that not only do they enjoy experimenting, but they're also very willing to share. They love sharing this information. They love, helping others and supporting others. And I mean, like, hey, did you see this amazing thing that I just found out? And, do their own like little mini show and tell. So definitely, those are things that we would look for in a champion.
All right. So summarizing some of that is that we like these two roles. Again, they're similar in a lot of their personalities, but the power user, again, usually has slightly elevated maybe permissions or capabilities to make change technically, whether it be Teams or SharePoint or some of the other tools in 365. But ultimately, both of these roles are critical, and we recommend identifying these folks in your organization if you're trying to drive adoption across Microsoft 365 tools and platforms and or Copilot, as that's becoming more and more important as well. So champions of power users, they help drive adoption. Find them, identify them, and support them and enable them and teach them more. So until the next time, be productive and stay secure.